All right, happy Thursday, everybody. And we've got 11 games tonight. 11. It's a pretty busy night of hockey. And then tomorrow it's a little bit quiet. And then Saturday it's crazy as a lot of teams have rough schedules in February. 29 days in the month of February this year. They're cramming in as much hockey as humanly possible. And we're the fans who get to benefit from it. All right, we're starting things off with Columbus in against Buffalo. This one starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, which I believe there's 5 of them that start at the same time. 30, 70, and 10 is the record for Columbus. In their last 10, they're 7, 1, and 2. So that one's kind of a surprise, and yet you got to lose in regulation at some point. They're 12, 7, and 7 on the road. And they're in against a Buffalo team that's in desperate need of victories. Hasn't thrown in the towel yet. At least management, players, to a man, have not said, well, we're probably done for this year. No, they have it in their mind that there's still a chance. They're 25, 24, and 8 over their last 10. They're 4, 5, and 1. And at home, they're 16, 14, or 16, 10, and 4. So they've won 16 out of 30 at home. Now, October 7th, Columbus wins this matchup in overtime, 4-3. That's in Columbus. February 1st in Buffalo. Buffalo wins the matchup 2-1, also in overtime. Werenski, and we're just going with notable scorers. Werenski, who's got to pick up the slack while Jones is out. 17 goals, 16 assists, 33 points for him. Nathan Gerby, 21 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. Go Gerby. Bjorkstrand, 18 goals, 12 assists for 30 points. And Foligno, 6 goals, 17 assists, 23 points. Still waiting for more points out of Foligno. Maybe he's had too much pizza. You don't carb load. We don't carb load anymore before hockey. Maybe it's carb loading for Nick. Maybe too many of his favorites. Eichel, 31 goals, 39 assists, 70 points for the Buffalo Sabres. He is trying to drag him. He's trying to drag him across that finish line. The team just doesn't. It's like they're sandbagging. They're not letting him pull him across the line. VC, 8 goals, 10 assists for him. Dahlin, 4 goals, 28 assists, 32 points. He's been very, very hot lately. Skinner, it's been 18 games now. 11 goals, 8 assists, 19 points. I'll keep putting his name on the board, hoping it turns around for him. Carter Hutton's been confirmed as the starter in this game for the Buffalo Sabres. On the Columbus side, no confirmation. Probably Elvis. I would think Elvis. I mean, if you're going to go with Kivlenix, that's just fine. But I would think Elvis. All right. Dallas in against Toronto. We'll see how this goes for the Dallas Stars tonight. Dallas, a team that's really got it scoring figured out now. I like what's going on with Dallas. The defense has been solid. The goaltending's been solid. But Toronto is this wild, unpredictable thing right now. I'm not sure what to expect. Dallas is 32, 19, and 5 over their last 10. They're 5, 4, and 1 on the road. They're 15, 10, and 3. Whereas Toronto, they're 30, 19, and 8 over their last 10. They're 5, 3, and 2. And at home, they're 15, 7, and 7. These teams met January 29th in Dallas, and Toronto won that game 5-3. So we'll see whether or not Toronto can sweep the season series tonight. Now, Heiskanen for Dallas, 7 goals, 22 assists, 29 points. Excellent season for him thus far. Ben, 18 goals, 13 assists, 31 points. He's not going to reach a points total like we normally see from him, and I think, anywhere near a point a game is probably done for him from here on. But he's been very, very good lately, so we'll see if he can follow up on his hat trick with anything else in this game. Gurianov, 16 goals, 6 assists, 22 points. So I mentioned the whole Cy Young thing yesterday, a term I didn't invent. And Gurianov, 16 goals and 6 assists. He's right in the running for that. Seguin, 11 goals, 30 assists, 41 points. So you have Tyler Seguin without a goal in his last, I believe he's up to 18 games as well. And it's been an absolute struggle for him. And I do think it's starting to bother him. On the Toronto side, Hyman, 16 goals, 14 assists, 30 points. He's underrated at this stage of the season. Marner, 14 goals, 43 assists, 57 points. Kasperi Kapanen, 11 goals, 21 assists, 32 points. And Nylander, 25 goals, 24 assists, 49 points. Excellent year for him. He's under more of a microscope because people perceive that he makes too much money, which I haven't said that in a while this year. He's had a pretty darn good year. Bishop's confirmed for Dallas, and interestingly for Toronto, Anderson's been confirmed for the Maple Leafs. So Anderson versus Bishop. This should be a good one. Let's see how Anderson does coming back from injury, having had some time off, which he hasn't had a ton of this year. So we'll see how that goes for him. Next up, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at home tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. And for Edmonton, you kind of have to win this one. Edmonton 30-20-6 overall. They are now 3 points back of Vancouver for first. But more importantly, they have to get some distance between themselves and the playoff line. Chasing Vancouver for first is important, but so is getting further ahead of that playoff line. And knowing Calgary lost last night, separate yourselves from Calgary. All you have to do is beat Tampa in Tampa. Last 10, Edmonton 6-3-1. Pretty solid record. On the road, they're 15-11-2. Tampa Bay, they're 37-15-5 now. Yeah, their records got to the point now where it's ridiculously good. They're 9-0-1 in their last 10, and at home they're 18-7-2. So they've already got 20 games where they didn't win. So technically they can only win 62. Can they win another 25 games in a row and get 62 wins again and a President's Trophy? And I'm just kidding. So March 20th will be the next meeting between these teams in Edmonton, meaning they haven't met yet this year. So this is a big test for the Oilers. Riley Sheahan, who's been solid lately, 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points for them. Draisaitl, who of course he's the face of the franchise until McDavid comes back, 32 goals, 57 assists, 89 points for Tampa. You've got one job, try to neutralize Draisaitl. Yamamoto in 15 games with the Oilers this year, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. Kid's been a revelation. And Gagne, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. Hasn't played every game, but he's been a useful plug-in forward here and there. Tampa Bay, Maroon, 6 goals, 12 assists. Braden Point, 20 goals, 34 assists, 54 points. Been really picking it up lately. Yanni Gourde, 7 goals, 14 assists, 21 points. We'll see if he's starting to heat up. Hedman, 9 goals, 38 assists, 47 points. One of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. Arguably the best. And we'll see if he continues to show that down the stretch. Goaltending, Mike Smith will be the goaltender for the Oilers. Vasilevsky will be the goaltender for Tampa Bay. And that's part of the challenge, too. You have to find a way to beat Vasilevsky. Teams haven't been doing that lately. He's been in the 3 stars a ton. So we'll see if he ends up in them again tonight. All right, next up, Philadelphia and Florida. 2 of the most unpredictable teams in the National Hockey League. And yet, they've both got decent enough records. Decent enough records over their last 10 games. Maybe. Philadelphia, 31-19-7. So, very close record to what Toronto has. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1. On the road, they're 12-14-3. And I've talked about their road record, and it is better than it was the last time I talked about it. But, again, they need to win in Florida tonight, and we'll see how things go. Florida's 30-20-6. So they find themselves in a dogfight with Toronto for that 3rd spot in the Atlantic. Now, over their last 10, they are 5-4-1. At home, they're 16-10-2. So pretty good home record for Florida. I really hope they start filling up that arena. Tonight's a good night to do it because this is an exciting team to watch. November 19th, Florida beat Philadelphia in Florida, 5-2. February 10th, in Philadelphia, these teams met. Philadelphia won that meeting 4-1. Now, the 3rd and final meeting of the season. We'll see who wins and wins the season series. Scoring, Provorov, 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points for him. So he's up to 10 goals now. Hayes, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. Very hot and cold forward there, but Philly fans seem to like him. Couturier, 16 goals, 34 assists, 50 points. I've said it before. I think he's their MVP when he's on. The team's playing pretty well. Claude Giroux, 15 goals, 26 assists, 41 points. On the Florida side, Ekblad, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points from the blue line. Huberdeau, 19 goals, 49 assists, 68 points. Matheson, 7 goals, 12 assists for 19 points. Honestly, offensively, Mike Matheson's having a very good year. And Hoffman, 21 goals, 25 assists, 46 points. We'll see if he's still there at the deadline. I don't know. Is there pressure to trade Hoffman, or do you just go through the deadline and figure it out in the offseason? Carter Hart will be the starter for Philly tonight. I think if Philly makes the playoffs, Carter Hart's going to play a role in that. And if they don't, he'll play a role there too. How he stands up to things could decide whether or not they end up in the playoffs. And Bobrovsky will be the goaltender for Florida because he makes $10 million a year, and he should be able to take orders and play goal, and maybe bust some drinks too during, like, it's a lot of money they're paying him. So yeah, we'll see how things go, and I do need to change boards. All right, Detroit and New Jersey, the last game that starts at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern today. And Detroit, well, I'm wearing New Jersey, so I've got a feeling New Jersey probably wins this one. Detroit's already had their win of the week against Boston. They're 14-40-4 overall, Detroit. Last 10, they're 2-8. On the road, they're 5-22-2. And of course, they've got Anthony Mantha back, and things are going pretty. Oh God, Perlini takes a skate to the face, because yeah, this is the kind of year that Detroit's been having. 20-25-10 is the overall record for New Jersey. They're not having a fantastic year either, but over their last 10, they're 3-4-3. So the record's been better than Detroit's over their last little while here. At home, they're 8-10-10. The most baffling record in hockey. Now I'm hoping they win their next two at home, so they're 10-10-10. That would be great. That'd be fantastic. November 23rd, New Jersey defeated Detroit. I was going to say November defeated Detroit, because every month has kind of defeated Detroit this year. New Jersey did win that matchup 5-1 at home. And then February 25th, these teams will meet again in Detroit. So for people who are going, I really hope we got a lot of New Jersey-Detroit action going on before the season's over. You're in luck. So Detroit, Fabry, 12 goals, 16 assists this year, 28 points. He's been fantastic for Detroit when in the lineup. Mantha, 12 goals, 14 assists. Same for Mantha. He's been really solid when in the lineup. Helm, kind of the same thing. 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points. And Tyler Bertuzzi, who's had a really solid season. 18 goals, 20 assists, 38 points. Butcher, 4 goals, 16 assists, 20 points for the Devils on the blue line. Coleman, who's been quite the story for New Jersey, 21 goals, 10 assists, 31 points. Severson, 7 goals, 16 assists, 23 points. Is he still an advanced stats darling? I genuinely don't have any idea. I like Severson, but I know opinions change from year to year on players. Bratt, 10 goals, 12 assists, 22 points. So for New Jersey, there's some hope here for next year. That's kind of where we're at. For Detroit, it's kind of hope for a couple years down the road. Bernier is listed as likely right now. I would think you probably go with Bernier. Bernier has a much better record. So while I feel bad for Jimmy Howard, they don't score for Jimmy Howard. They don't win for Jimmy Howard. They win for Bernier, so you throw Bernier in. Unless Blashill's saying, you know what? Let's put the goalie in that doesn't win, because Stevie Y wants me to make sure I lose as many games as possible. Why was he interviewing Gerard Gallant today? So he wasn't actually. I'm just making a joke. No, don't take that as gospel. Blackwood, starting goaltender for New Jersey, and he's been pretty fantastic lately, which is a big part of the reason why I'm wearing New Jersey for this too. It's not just as easy as, well, it's Detroit, so they're going to lose. Blackwood, pretty solid stats lately. All right, moving along to Arizona in against Ottawa. This one starts at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. The Arizona Coyotes looking to get some kind of momentum going. They had a win in Toronto until they didn't, but that's after they got like a last-minute victory against the Montreal Canadiens the night before. So for them, they're 28, 23, and 8 now. They're getting some points, but they're still 2-5-3 in their last 10. So they're still technically in a slump. And on the road, they're 15, 12, and 4. The Ottawa Senators, 18, 27, and 11. They're also 2-5-3 in their last 10. At home, they're 12, 10, and 6. Their home record has started to slide in the last month, I'll say. So Arizona, this is a very important game for them. October 19th, Arizona did win this matchup in Arizona 5-2. And we'll see whether or not Ottawa can fight back and even up the season series tonight. Chychrun, 12 goals, 12 assists, 24 points. He has been excellent lately. Stepan, 9 goals, 15 assists. Very positive in their games recently. And recently, I mean this week. This week is basically where we're at. Soderberg, 14 goals, 16 assists, 30 points. Because it's a week-to-week thing now in terms of who's playing well, who isn't, and who's your savior, and who's the one that you're going, oh, I wish we'd trade him. Kessel, 12 goals, 21 assists, 33 points. He's had his moments recently as well. Now on the Ottawa side, Tkachuk, 16 goals, 15 assists, 31 points. He's so prominent in their games, you would definitely think he'd have more points and goals than he does. That'll happen next year is my guess. Ennis, 13 goals, 17 assists, 30 points. Shabbat, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points. Nemesnikov, 11 goals, 11 assists, 22 points. Goaltending, Antti Ranta's in again, as Kemper was going to come back, and then there was a setback. Hogberg is listed as likely for the Ottawa Senators. So really it's going to fall on Antti Ranta and how well he does for Arizona as to whether or not they actually make the playoffs this year. And here's to hoping things go well for him. Honestly, I would like to see Arizona make the playoffs because it's been too long. Next up, the Islanders are in Nashville. This is a really interesting matchup. It starts at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Because, honestly, Nashville, it feels like they've been playing better, and then they go into Vancouver, and it's awful, and that's after blowing their previous game. So I don't know where we're at with Nashville right now. However, they did enjoy their game against the Islanders earlier this year. The Islanders are 33, 16, and 6 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5, 3, and 2. It feels like they're turning things around. They're 15, 9, and 2 on the road, so excellent road record. Nashville struggles at home. Nashville's 26, 22, and 7 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5 and 5. And at home, they're 11, 11, and 4. So they are struggling at home. They've only won 11 out of 26 at home, and if they miss the playoffs by a point or two, it may be their home record that we can look at and say that's what sunk them. They did win this matchup December 17th in New York, 8-3. So that's a pretty strong victory for Nashville. And we'll see if the Islanders try to exact some revenge on the road tonight. Eberle, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points. Started off this season ice cold, and he has been excellent recently. He has been scoring goals. He's back. He's up to double digits, and I'll be interested to see what Lamoriello does with Eberle. Brassard, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points. Bailey, 12 goals, 25 assists, 37 points. He's really been getting it going recently as well. And Anders Lee, 17 goals, 16 assists, 33 points. Very steady player. Really is steady player. He'll end up with 20, 25 goals by the end of I would think 25 by the end of the year. Turris on Nashville. If there's a guy that you could say, I can't believe you're still here, I would have Kyle Turris on that list, maybe top 5. I've thought about doing a video on that with guys that I can't believe they haven't been traded yet. Oddly enough, if I did a week ago, Jason Zucker would have been on the list. So I would have Turris on that list right now because it hasn't really worked very well in Nashville for him, but he's a very talented forward. His contract does make trading him kind of tricky. Ekholm, 6 goals, 24 assists, 30 points. Yarncroke, 12 goals, 16 assists, 28 points. And Johansson, 11 goals, 20 assists, 31 points. I've mentioned before, I think they want more out of Johansson. We'll see if he provides that. And we'll see who's goaltending for them soon. That hasn't been announced yet that I've been able to put on the board at the time that I'm recording this. So Rangers in against Minnesota. Also starting at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, meaning that at 5 o'clock my time, there will be 8 games on. So that's where things get a little tricky. And when people are like, well, why don't you just get extra screens? That wouldn't get confusing and overwhelming at all. Because then I'd have all these remotes. Okay, I gotta switch. Wait, this and then that. Wait, I missed that. So yeah, that just doesn't work. 28, 23, and 4, the record for the New York Rangers. Over their last 10, they're 6 and 4. And they're finally 5 games above 500. 28 and 23. That's 5 games above 500. Now they're trying to make it 6. On the road, they're 12, 11, and 2. As these players try to convince the GM, hey, keep us together. We can make a run here. The Minnesota Wild kind of trying to do the same thing. 27, 23, and 6. They're trying to get 5 games above 500 tonight. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10. They're 17, 8, and 4. Because the playoff line is a lower number in the West than the East, Minnesota is very close. And so for them, every game kind of feels like a playoff game right now. November 25th, these teams met in New York. The Rangers won that one in overtime, 3-2. So we'll see how things go tonight. Strome, 13 goals, 34 assists for the Rangers. Excellent season. How much is it worth? That's the question they're going to answer this summer. Adam Fox, 6 goals, 23 assists for him. Brendan Lemieux, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. Zibanejad, excellent year for Zibanejad. 23 goals, 26 assists, 49 points. He's been fantastic when healthy. On the Minnesota side, Parise, 21 goals, 15 assists, 36 points for him. Greenway, 6 goals, 15 assists, 21 points. I have a feeling next year we'll see more points from Greenway. I do. I think he's going to show more next year. Fiala, who's been really lights out recently. 14 goals, 24 assists, 38 points. And Jared Spurgeon, he had a power play goal their last game. 7 goals, 18 assists, 25 points. Stalock is confirmed. I would go with Shesterkin. If I'm the Rangers and I really want to make the playoffs and I want to get as close as possible, I would just go with Shesterkin. I'd be sitting down with Henrik. I'd be sitting down with Georgiev and saying, you know what, guys? You guys are great, but this kid, he is just that darn good. And just go from there. Anyways, I do need to change boards. Alrighty. Washington in against the Colorado Avalanche. So starting at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, Colorado will be facing Washington in what might be the game of the night. Look, Washington had a couple of really bad outings. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. And they looked kind of sort of terrible. And Ovechkin stuck on 698 goals. But tonight in Colorado, Washington's a better road team than home team, so we'll see what happens. Washington's 36-15-5 overall. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and on the road, they are 26-1. Like I said, better on the road than at home. Whereas the Colorado Avalanche, 33-16-6, they are 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're playing pretty well. And at home, they're 15-7-4. So no matter where Colorado's playing right now, they've got an excellent chance of winning that game. October 14th, I should say, Colorado went into Washington and beat them 6-3. So they've already proven this year they can beat the Capitals. The Capitals, well, Ovechkin, 40 goals, 17 assists, 57 points. Like I said, he's kind of stuck there for the last couple of games. So NBC gets to continually bash us over the head with the Ovechkin chase to 700. But this should be on altitude. I don't know that it's being carried nationally on NBC. I haven't checked because I'm not in the U.S. right now. So, right? So we'll see whether or not that's being carried nationally as they wait with bated breath for that goal 700. Jacob Vrana, 23 goals, 23 assists. Carlson, 15 goals, 52 assists for 67 points. Oshie, 21 goals, 20 assists. Solid year for him overall. We'll see what they do with their goaltender tonight. Holtby was in relief of Samsonov in the last game and played well. Samsonov, I don't know what you do right now. I don't know. It's game to game. What do you do? Because it's important right now that they get it together because Pittsburgh is not slowing down. And now they're looking over their shoulder at the Islanders as well, who are only 5 points back. Calvert, 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points. An emotional leader for the Colorado Avalanche. Tyson Jost, there's been a lot of talk about, hey, maybe they'll trade Jost. Hey, why don't we trade Jost? Mostly speculative, but at some point I do think Jost, who has 5 goals and 11 assists, might be more attractive as a trade piece than actually keeping around because he hasn't lived up to that potential yet. Girard, 2 goals, 26 assists, 28 points. And Landeskog, 15 goals, 11 assists, 26 points. In order for Colorado to keep this going, Landeskog needs to be a key guy. And things are going pretty well right now if you're a fan of the Avs. Not so much if you're a fan of the Caps, but we'll see how things go for them. St. Louis, so the Blues, and this is where things get somber tonight. The Blues in Vegas. So we know now that Jay Bouwmeester, he's alert. He's able to move all of his extremities. Everything should be okay, right? But you know it's still weighing on the minds of the Blues, and George McPhee's offered whatever services to the Blues that they need while they're in Vegas in order to, to feel more settled and to get themselves ready for this game tonight, which is nice for Vegas to do that. So any psychological needs they may have, Vegas is able to provide that if St. Louis needs it. St. Louis, 32-15-9 overall. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. On the road, they're 14-10-4, and we'll see if the team really galvanizes starting tonight going forward. Now, Vegas really needs this game. So as much as they may feel for what St. Louis is going through, once that puck drops, you got to go for it. 28-22-8. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. It hasn't been going particularly well. Hasn't gone well often enough for them to stay really far ahead of that playoff line. They're 14-10-4 at home, so they've won half of their home games. We'll see how it goes tonight. December 12th, St. Louis wins this matchup 4-2 at home. January 4th, Vegas won this matchup in overtime 5-4 over the Blues. So we'll see whether or not Vegas can win their second out of 3 against St. Louis tonight. Sanford, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points for St. Louis. Steen, recent 1,000-game player, 5 goals, 10 assists for him. Thomas, 9 goals, 24 assists, 33 points. And O'Reilly, 10 goals, 39 assists, 49 points. Somebody's going to emerge as the vocal leader of this team throughout all of this, and we'll see where this ends up going. Now on the Vegas side of things, Smith, 21 goals, 23 assists, 44 points for him. Stastny, who has turned around what was a horrible season, 16 goals, 15 assists, 31 points. Carlson, still struggling to get goals, but he does so much of all the other stuff. It's fine. 10 goals, 24 assists for him. And Nate Schmidt, 6 goals, 20 assists from the blue line for 26 points. He has had a pretty darn solid season for them. He and Shea Theodore being their minute-munching defensemen. So, last game of the night, Calgary in against Anaheim. So Calgary coming off of a very challenging loss last night. Like that was tough. And now they have to go to Anaheim. And Anaheim's been feeling pretty good about themselves lately. So this may very well be a tricky road trip for them. We'll see how things go tonight. 29-23-6 is the record for Calgary. So they need to be better. They know this. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10. And on the road, they're 16-13-2. So it is an overall mess if you're Calgary right now. And Anaheim, they're out of it, but they're not giving up. They're 23-26-7. And some of the young kids have started to come along nicely over the last couple of weeks. And they're 6-2-2 in their last 10 at home. Or their last 10, they're 6-2-2. At home, they're 12-10-3. So overall, their numbers have been improving. So Calgary, be careful because it could be back-to-back defeats in back-to-back nights. And it may change the whole narrative when it comes to what Calgary's going to do at the deadline. Calgary won this matchup in Anaheim 2-1, October 20th. A very rare victory for Calgary in Anaheim. And they'll be trying to make it 2 in a row tonight. And then these teams will meet again on the 17th in Calgary. So these teams will get to know each other very, very well over the next 4 days. Rasmus Anderson, who's been excellent while Giordano's been out. 4 goals, 13 assists for 17 points for him. Johnny Gaudreau, who is showing signs of waking up really offensively and getting some goals. It's going to happen. 14 goals, 33 assists, 47 points for him. Elias Lindholm, 24 goals, 21 assists, 45 points. And Mangiapane, who's been a very notable player for them. 10 goals, 9 assists, 19 points. I like Andrew Mangiapane a lot. And I do think there is more offense. Eventually, I think there's a 20-goal scorer in there. We'll see. Henrique for Anaheim, 18 goals, 12 assists, 30 points for him. He's been playing very well. Silverberg, much the same, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. I think we're finally seeing the offense from Sam Steele. Not necessarily goals, but he's up to 4 goals, 15 assists for 19 points. And Rickard Rakell, 13 goals, 21 assists, 34 points. Does he move at the deadline? Just throwing that out there. Just because, you look at guys that aren't necessarily putting up the totals you might expect, and you might look at a GM and say, hey, would you think about trading him? And that GM would go, for the right price? Yes. And to me, Rakell seems like for the right price, yes. And for a team that needs goals, you may very well be able to buy low on Rickard Rakell. That being said, let me know your winners in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. We're going to hit 133,000 today, and I thank each and every one of you for hitting the subscribe button. That's fantastic, and I will talk to you again soon.